Hello everyone, Trent here again. I hope you're all going well on your nutrition kickstart. This is a follow-up video to last week's video, which we spoke about fixed and growth mindset. So today, what I'm hoping to share with you is 3 ways in which we can build and maintain a growth mindset. So the first one is understanding and knowing that the brain is actually a muscle. So within your brain, you have millions and millions of things called neurons, and they bind together to change the shape and strength of your brain. So when you learn a new task, different neurons will connect together to make it stronger, just like you would in a gym, where you have muscle fibers that break down and then repair to get bigger and stronger muscles. So a really good example of the brain being what we call malleable comes from a taxi driver study. So if you've ever taken a black cab in the UK, they actually need to know the roads off by heart. They can't use Google Maps, they don't use the old school road map, they need to know it all from memory. And what they need to do in order to become a caddy is they need to do rigorous training or study to be able to become a cab driver in the UK. It's the equivalent of about a 4-year tertiary degree here in Australia, so it's actually quite intensive. And they did a study on the brains of cab drivers, and what they did is they measured the size of the hippocampal area. So the hippocampus is associated with learning and memory, more specifically spatial memory. So what that means is when you're thinking about directions of where you need to go, where you're driving your car and you're navigating, that's your hippocampus being activated. So in this study, a longitudinal study over the course of the 4-year study for a cab driver, they measured the size of the hippocampus, and they had 3 different groups. One group was those who successfully passed the cab exam and became cab drivers, those who underwent the course but didn't get the grades to pass the course, and then the last group was those who pulled out of the course before completion. And what they found was, in the group of individuals whom did not progress with the course, there was no change in size in the hippocampus. For those that went through the course but didn't get the grades that they needed to become a cab driver, there were significant increases in the size of the hippocampal area. And then in the group that actually made it through and became a cab driver, they saw significant increases on top of those that didn't pass the exam. So what that means is, basically, their brain changed shape over the course of the 4-year course, essentially. And that's really important for us to understand when we're in those times where we feel frustrated or fed up or think to ourselves, I can't do this. Just know that your brain can change over the time if we put in the effort to learn a new task. Speaking of which, the next part is all around self-talk or your inner dialogue. So it's really important that we're aware of the language that we use when we speak to ourselves. So, for example, from a fixed mindset mind frame, we might be saying things to ourselves, or you're not very good at this, you'll never be that good, you're not as good as everyone else, everyone thinks you're really bad at this. That can be some of the potential statements that we could be coming up with when we're feeling really frustrated or like we're not making progress. It's really important that we're using words that give us what we call psychological space. So things around, I'm not there yet. That little word yet on the end can really make a huge difference in how we perceive ourselves and our ability to be successful. It's also really important to give us some balance, because typically in the fixed mindset there's this binary view of pass fail. We need to be able to give ourselves some more balance. So what that could look like is, if we're saying to ourselves, I'm not as good as everyone else, we could give ourselves some more perspective to say, I'm new to this. It's going to take a little while. If I put in the effort, I am going to get the results that I'm looking for. And then finally, focus on the process. this is often undergone. We live in a society where we want immediate results, whether it be in business, in our corporate lives, even our personal lives to a large degree. If we think about the nutrition challenge, we want to lose X amount of weight. We want to be able to lift X amount of weight. We want to be able to run this fast. So everything is measured, everything is quantified, everything, when we look around, is based on results. Now, results are not the issue, it's how we view the results. Results are actually important in terms of milestones to go, the work that we're putting in actually is getting results. So they are important, but I think typically the fixed mindset has an over-reliance or over-emphasizes the results to go, that's the be all and end all. So something that the people that I work with find really helpful is to focus on the process. So if I do all the things that I'm meant to, I will get there. So if I want to run a marathon, what are the things that I need to do to get there? So I need to wake up every morning and make sure I go for a run every day. I need to eat healthy. So if I focus on those things, those smaller habits, I am going to build to the larger result. So habits are key and important. It's a fundamental concept to any behavioral change. We don't have time for it in this particular video, but I will be giving you some strategies or some tips around how to build long-term sustainable habits in the next video. So make sure you stay tuned for that one, and hope you have an awesome week on your nutrition kickstart. Thanks.